Max Verstappen's 245th Formula One start lasted less than a lap. He crashed out of his own home race at Zandvoort in front of 100,000 people in orange. Michael Schumacher's 245th start did not end in a wall. It ended an era. Monza, 2006, victory number 90 in the red Ferrari, and then he stood up in the press room and told the world he was walking away at the end of the season. Two drivers, the exact same career checkpoint. One crashed out of his home race in a Red Bull that has not won a Grand Prix all season. The other won the race with 90 victories and 7 titles already on his record. And that gap is the whole argument about who the greatest driver of all time actually is. But the numbers everyone quotes in that argument are lying to you. Total wins, total poles, total titles. They sound definitive and they are almost worthless. And once you line these 4 careers up properly, at the same number of races, at the same age, the answer stops being obvious. In fact, it flips, and it flips twice. This is F1 verdict. 4 names: Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen. Today, I am running the fair fight the totals never allow, and by the end I will give you a verdict on the record as it stands, and a ruling on the one man whose story is not finished. Let us get one thing straight about the totals first. Lewis Hamilton, now in the red Ferrari, has made 392 Grand Prix starts. That is more than double Senna's entire career. Senna died at Imola in May of 1994, leading the race, 34 years old, after just 161 starts. Comparing their win totals is not comparing drivers. It is comparing how much time each man was given. So 106 wins for Hamilton against 41 for Senna tells you almost nothing. And anyone who settles this argument with that number has not thought about it for even a minute. So I went through all 4 careers and cut them at the same 3 points. 161 starts, 245 starts, and then age. 3 fair fights. And I'm not going to lie, the first one completely threw me. The first cut is 161 starts. Senna's entire career, first race to last. The question is simple. What did each of the other 3 have on the day they made their 161st start? Max Verstappen, in the Red Bull, reached start 161 in Mexico City at the end of 2022, and he won the race. That was career win 34, a record 14th win in a single season, with 2 championships already in the bag. A monster of a season, so hold on to that number, 34. Lewis Hamilton reached the same mark at Singapore in 2015, and on that day he had exactly 40 career wins and 2 titles. Set that against Senna's 41. At the identical number of starts, Ayrton Senna had more wins than Lewis Hamilton. The man with the highest win total in the history of this sport was one behind a driver who never got to race past 34 years old. And it gets worse for the modern era because Senna's real weapon was Saturday. 65 pole positions in 161 races. Nobody else in this video reached 50 by the same point. That is not a driver who was quick. That is a driver operating somewhere the others could not visit. 1 lap, low fuel, maximum risk. If qualifying is your measure of pure speed, Senna is not in this argument. He ends it. Then there is Schumacher, and here the first fight stops being close. Michael Schumacher hit the same mark at the turn of 2002, and by then he was already sitting on 53 wins and 4 world titles. 53 and 4 at a point in his career where Hamilton had 40 and 2, Verstappen 34 and 2, and Senna 41 and 3. On raw achievement per race started, Prime Schumacher clears the field, and he was nowhere near done. So the first fight goes to Schumacher, with Senna ahead of Hamilton, which I suspect is not the order most of you had, but 161 races is Senna's ruler. Move the line to Verstappen's ruler and watch what happens. 245 starts. Where Max stands right now, Senna never got there, which is its own kind of answer, and I will come back to it. Schumacher's 245th start was that Monza announcement day in 2006. 90 wins, 7 titles, and the sport at his feet. Hamilton's 245th was Russia in 2019, and he won it too. Career win number 82, 5 titles, with 2 more championships still coming. Max Verstappen, at the same start number, sits on 71 wins and 4 titles, in a Red Bull that has not won a race in 2026. So at the same number of starts, the order is brutal. Schumacher 90, Hamilton 82, Verstappen 71, and the titles read 7, 5, 4. The driver so much of the paddock calls the most complete talent of his generation is running 3rd out of 3 in the only version of the fight where nobody gets extra races. Now before the Orange Army comes for me in the comments, stay with me, because the 3rd cut is the one that saves him. And it does not just save him, it makes him untouchable. Cut 3 is age, and here is the part that should scare the other 3. Max has not even reached this checkpoint yet. He does not turn 29 until the end of September. So take the other 3 men on their 29th birthday and count. Senna at that age had 14 wins. He did not even reach Formula 1 until he was 24, because that is how the ladder worked back then, and he did not get a title-winning car until McLaren in 1988. Schumacher on his 29th birthday had 27 wins and 2 titles. Hamilton, 22 wins and 1 title. And remember, Hamilton was the youngest champion in history at the time, and Max Verstappen, still 28, in the Red Bull, is already on 71. Say that out loud, 71 against 27, and his counter is still running. Before he has even turned 29, Max has more than double the wins of prime Michael Schumacher and more than triple Lewis Hamilton. He has more wins at 28 than Schumacher had at 34. He was a Grand Prix winner at 18, the youngest in history, a race he won on debut for Red Bull in Spain in 2016. And the way the super license rules are written now, that record may never be touched. Every single thing the others did by 30, Max did by 25. So now you have got 2 stats screaming 2 different things. At equal starts, Verstappen is last. At equal age, not one of the other 3 is within half of him. Both fair fights are real, both are honest, and they just disagree. The tiebreaker is not opinion, it is time, and I will put a date on it in a moment. And yes, I know, the cars, they all had rockets. Max had the 2023 Red Bull, 19 wins from 22 races, a strike rate not even Schumacher's 2004 Ferrari touched. But you do not luck into the best car in this sport. You drag the best team into building it around you, and all 4 of them did exactly that. The car argument cancels itself out. The one thing that does not cancel out is the ending. Senna never got a decline phase, never got a comeback, never got the 200 races the others used to pile up their totals. His 161 starts are frozen at the exact moment he was still the best driver alive. He was on pole for every single race he started in 1994. That is why he wins the pole column and beats Hamilton at equal starts, and it is why, in this argument, he stands apart rather than 4th. You are not ranking a career. You are ranking half of one against 3 finished or nearly finished ones. So who actually takes it? Here is where I land. On the record as it stands, my verdict is Michael Schumacher. Not on the total of 91 wins, but on the checkpoints. At every equal marker I can draw, 161 starts, 245 starts, age 29, Schumacher either leads the field or leads every finished career in it. 7 titles, 5 of them consecutive, and the most wins per race started of any of the 4 across a full career. Hamilton has the bigger totals and the fairy tale still running in red. Senna has the speed no one matched and the ending no one wanted. But if I am ruling on the evidence keeps landing on the German. And the second part of the verdict is about Max because his file is still open and now it has a closing date written on it. Red Bull announced on the 20th of August that Verstappen has signed through the end of 2030. I covered that contract the week it was signed. 4 more full seasons after this one. Call it 96 more races if the calendars run to 24, plus whatever is left of this year. Run his career strike rate forward, 29%, nearly 3 wins in every 10 starts, and the maths says Schumacher's 91 falls to him around 2028 or 2029. He needs 21 more wins. Even if Red Bull stay stuck in the midfield for a while yet, that number is coming, and when it lands he will be in his early 30s with 2 seasons to spare. Hamilton's 106 is a different animal. Max needs 35 just to tie it, 36 to pass it, and Lewis is still adding to the target in the red car. 41 years old and sitting 3rd in the championship this season. 36 wins across those 96 races is a strike rate close to 40%, sustained for 4 straight years, when his career rate is 29 and only his dominance seasons ever cleared that bar. And it starts in a Red Bull that right now cannot win at all, in a season where Mercedes lead both championships and Kimi Antonelli is running away with the title. I do not see it happening inside this contract. That is not a knock on Max. It is arithmetic. So my ruling is this: Max Verstappen will not be the greatest of all time by the end of 2030. He will be one dominant era short. And here is the next checkpoint, because the first 2 are frozen forever. Schumacher's whole career lasted 306 starts. If Max gets to that same marker with more than 91 wins and more titles still coming, this argument looks completely different, and the age curve says he can. Until that day, the crown stays where the checkpoints put it, with the man who won victory number 90 at Monza and announced he was walking away. Now it is your turn, and I actually want the full order: Senna, Schumacher, Hamilton, Verstappen. Rank all 4, 1 to 4, in the comments, and defend the one you put last, because that is where the real argument is. My order is pinned at the top. The day Max wins race number 92, this video gets a part 2, and the story of the contract that set his deadline, the deal that runs to 2030, is the video on your screen right now. If you want the verdicts, and not just the headlines, subscribe to F1 Verdict. That is the verdict on the greatest of all time. For now.